If you ask the average person if they are being controlled, they will say no. If you ask them if they are free, they will say yes. But the thing is, most people do not know that they are being controlled. It is very, very important that I continue to bring awareness to this thing, this issue, because a lot of people think that they are the ones making the decisions in their lives. They're in control of their futures, which they are, but they don't know that for the past, since birth, they have been controlled by other people and other things in the world. So, one by your parents, one by now social media, one by the TV shows and movies that we watch, one by your friends and your family. You are being controlled in some shape or form. So in this video, I'm going to shed some light into a couple of the ways that you are being controlled and how you're not being a leader of your life. And then I'm going to go into 3 specific steps that you can take to really take control of your life and become more self-led. I'm all about helping people become leaders of their lives. I am a leader. I'm someone who likes to be in control. I had to learn how to balance it out because I was a little control freak, with wanting to control every single outcome. But now I know that that's just not realistic. But we do have the opportunity and the advantage and the ability to take control over a lot of aspects of our lives. And so those are some of the things that I want to highlight. And so let's just get right into it. So there are 4 main ways or avenues that you can look at when it comes to how you are being controlled. So 1, you're being programmed, and I would like to say cultural programming. So especially when you look at the Black community, a lot of people don't know that they're being controlled by the music we listen to, the celebrities that we look up to or watch or talk about. Anything that embodies Black culture, whether it's the fashion, whether it's the hairstyles, whether it's, like I said, the music or the TV that we watch, we're being programmed to normalize a lot of things. And at this point in life, a lot of people are becoming aware of it, but most people are not aware of it. So, for example, I remember when the City Girls first came out and everyone loved their music. I was a fan a little bit. And down the line, a lot of people realized, wait, like, us singing these songs about taking men's money, and I don't even want to use some of the language that they were using, but basically like just being this woman who only messed with men for money, that language and that mindset was definitely being like passed down or brainwashed into our culture. A lot of women were started to like glorify like having sugar daddies and like, pimping these dudes out and things of that nature. And it was very like promiscuous behavior, very much what's the girl name? Can't think of the girl name that I'm thinking about, but it will come to my head. And so that's just an example of like how that kind of shaped our culture, especially like during COVID. When you think about rappers, like how much like that toxic music about drugs and violence and trauma, like all that stuff was being glorified, and a lot of our young generation use that music as a way to cope, or they can relate to it, but really it was just them manifesting that energy. So it's important that you become aware of how much our culture can really program us to believing things that shouldn't be true, that aren't true, to living lifestyles that aren't realistic, to saying things and believing things that just aren't real, that aren't the truth, and that aren't in alignment with who God wants you to be. So that's one way you're being controlled, is through cultural programming. Another way you're being controlled is by living on autopilot. A lot of people don't know that they are doing things unconsciously. Our habits, our routines, and our systems are so second nature to us. It's what you do when you only gotta think about it, you just do it. That is what it means to kind of live on autopilot. You make decisions based on quick results. You make decisions based on how you're feeling in that moment instead of actually taking time out to think, to process, to breathe. So a lot of people don't know that when you're living on autopilot, you're not making sound decisions. You're not being intentional. You're not being, you're not using like long-term thinking or having delayed gratification. So when you're living on autopilot, I don't know why I can't say this word. When you are living on autopilot, you're being controlled a lot by your emotions and by certain outcomes that you're trying to reach. It's also about like being in survival mode and making decisions that don't align with your higher purpose or the life that you want to live. So like I said, it's like having those habits and routines that are automatic without any intention. And some things you do want to be habitual, like brushing your teeth, learning or knowing how to drive your car, but a lot of times people are living by a script that was created by their parents, by the school system, by the government, might I say. And so you're just living on this like path that's not even in alignment with who you want to be. So, and that's another way of how you are being controlled. Another thing that can be very detrimental to your ability to be a leader is seeking external validation. So a lot of people, most people do things for the validation of other people, whether it's their friends, their family, their partner, their workplace. Everyone is always doing something to get praise from other people, and that has to do with ego and having pride, and also most of the time it's out of fear of being alone and also being insecure. So you do things because you want the approval from other people, and it kind of goes along with my next point of people pleasing. Those two kind of go hand in hand. People pleasing is a little bit more about you doing things. You're taking away from your own self in order to make someone else happy. So that is very much people centered. But seeking validation is more so about you wanting praise from other people, and you seeking validation is more so about yourself and what you're trying to do to make yourself feel better, while people pleasing is about other people. People pleasing is more so about doing things to make other people happy, to make other people feel better about themselves. So especially for someone like me, like being the oldest daughter, I definitely experienced like people pleasing just because like I wanted to make everyone happy around me, whether it was my parents, whether it's my siblings. Like I will always try to do things to make them happy, and I would do it unconsciously, and I would let it control certain decisions I did or did not make. Same thing with external validation. Like you will sometimes sacrifice like doing what you really want to do, or wearing what you really want to wear, for example, because you want to get approval from certain people. So you may wear a certain type of shirt or hairstyle that you probably don't even like, but you know that this person likes it and they're going to say it looks good on you, so you do it anyway. So these are all some powerful tactics that are used to control people, to keep people brainwashed, to keep people behind and from not living in alignment. So here are 5 signs that kind of indicate whether you are self-led or not. So first, you have to call everyone before you make decisions. So whether it's your parents, whether it's your partner. I know people love to kind of talk about it like, oh, like I definitely call my mom before I do this and that. And that's cool and all. But I'm talking about on a deeper level, like you don't trust yourself to make decisions, and you don't have faith or belief in yourself that you can make decisions that are for your future or to better yourself. And so you have to call other people to get approval, or it's because you just want their validation anyway. So you're just calling them in order to get their approval on whether you should do something or not. I kind of experienced that a little bit. Like I will always call my stepmom when I made certain decisions. 1, out of people pleasing, and 2, just out of like feeling like my parents needed to have a say so in what I did in my life. And I was very much an adult at that time, and I didn't need that. It's okay to ask for advice every now and then, but if you're calling people every single decision you need to make, you are not a leader of your life. You need to be able to make your own decisions. Another sign is that you do everything based on what you saw on social media, or because of what you saw on social media. I can tell you how many times I heard people say, yo girl, I saw this on TikTok, so I did this. And it's like, cool. Like I love the whole like influencer, I'm for the girls making their money, whatever. But at the same time, people be trying stuff that they don't even like. People be doing things that they would never, ever thought about doing until they saw somebody else doing it. If everything you do, whether it's a trip, whether it's a restaurant, it's a outfit, it's a recipe, every single thing you do is because you saw it on social media, it's a red flag. At what point are you going to start to take the lead and do things because you actually want to do it, not because so and so on social media did it and you think it look cool, or you want to be like them, or you compare your life to them, you want to live how they living? We got to get out of that. So that's another sign that you aren't being self-led, is that you are doing things because of something you saw on social media. If you start a sentence by saying that you did it on TikTok, or somebody asks you every 5 seconds how you do something, and every time you respond you say TikTok, that's a red flag. Another sign is that you confuse your feelings with the truth. So you let your emotions control you. You let your emotions make your decisions. Instead of, like I said earlier, taking the time to breathe, thinking intentionally, thinking clearly, and using the facts versus how you feel. And I'm not saying that it's bad to have emotions or to express yourself, but it has to be what's the word? Productive, in a sense of, okay, this is how I feel, but how do I solve the problem? Or what can I do to make myself feel better? Or what can I do to kind of rectify the situation instead of reacting? You don't want to be someone who lives on autopilot. I don't know why I can't speak today. You don't want to be someone who lives on autopilot, who is just reacting. They're not being proactive. They're reacting to everything that happens in their lives. You want to be someone who has strong standards and boundaries for themselves, so that when things happen, you know how to attack them versus letting them attack you. The next sign that you're not self-led, this is number 4. You escape through distraction. So this is a huge one that we see in society. A lot of people don't want to self-reflect. They don't want to take accountability. They don't want to go within, and they avoid silence. So they find ways to distract. So usually that's music, that's food, that's TV shows, that's sometimes sleeping too much. Sometimes that's overworking. Sometimes that's something that I'm not even going to mention it, but there are so many ways that people distract themselves in order to just escape from really taking control of their lives and being the leader of their lives. So they will, drink a lot of alcohol. They may take any other substance. It's always something outside of themselves that help them to escape and avoid discomfort. So that is another huge sign that you are not being self-led, is that you escape and you use distractions to do it. And then lastly, another sign that you are not self-led, you are not a leader of your life, you are being controlled, is identifying with labels. Number 1 I can think of when I was making this is zodiac signs. Oh, well, he's a Taurus, so that's why he acts like that. Oh, I'm a Cancer, so that's why I act like this. I hate when I meet someone new and their first question is, what's your sign? Because they're trying to get a vibe of me and figure out if what I'm saying and what I'm doing matches with my zodiac sign. I am not my zodiac sign. I don't really believe in astrology. I feel like people are just people, and we are spiritual beings, so I'm sure there is some truth to some of it, maybe. I can't speak on that because I really haven't done any research on it, but I know that it's not something that is talked about in the Bible. But I will say, people really do use it as labels and use it as a way to excuse some behaviors. Like Geminis, for example, they love to glorify the fact that, they're hot-headed and they strict, they don't play but it's just is that really who you are? People really die behind these zodiac signs. So that's just another way that people use labels to control their lives. Diagnosis, so whether you have been diagnosed with something that's very serious or even something that's small, but you let that be your identity, you let it control you, you let it control your relationships, how you talk, how you treat people, how you operate on a daily basis. And I'm not saying that some of this stuff can't be true, because obviously if you're being diagnosed, that means that it's serious, depending on what it is. But you don't want it to control your life and let it control every single decision that you make. You don't want to give things too much power. Also, different aesthetics and ideologies, whether you are Democrat or Republican, or you work in corporate, or you drive this car or that car, or you have this job title, or you're married, or whatever the case may be. We love to use labels to control our lives and to identify ourselves, and you let it control you. You let it control how you treat people. It's because you got money or you're wealthy, you look down on other people, you're letting it control you. You don't have to let your money change you. If it does change you, it should change you in a good way. But they say that money only shows you more of who you truly are. So if you let money make you a shitty person where you got a bad attitude and you're very entitled, that just proves more as to what your character is like. So these are just some things that you can kind of look at when you're trying to figure out if you're being self-led or not. What are you letting control you? What are you allowing to make your decisions? So this is the first step to reclaiming your power, reclaiming authority over your life, becoming self-led, and just being a leader over your decisions and your mindset and your identity. So here are 3 things that you can do literally today. And this is not, the first one I'm going to say is not included in the 3. So first of all, awareness is the first step to any type of change or transformation in your life. You have to be aware. You have to accept it as truth. You have to learn the truth and know the truth. And I just gave y'all the truth. Everything that I said in this video is facts. I don't care what nobody say. Most people are not controlling their life. They're letting external things control them and they don't know it. So I just made you aware of that. Cool. That's the first thing that you need to tackle, is hearing it and being like, you know what, that is so true. I do make my whole life based on my career. I do make all my decisions based on my emotions. I do make all my decisions based on my job title. Okay, you're aware of it. Here's what you need to do if you are aware of it and you want to make changes and become self-led. First of all, you need to learn how to be alone. You need to spend more time in silence. You need to get to the root of who you truly are and understand what your character is, what your morals are, what your true values are. Spend more time alone. So when you're going on car rides, stop calling people. When you are not at work, stop calling people every 5 minutes just to like fill a void of being in silence. Stop thinking that you got to have somebody with you every time you go out to the grocery store. Stop thinking that you got to always invite somebody to your house or you always got to go over someone else's house. Learn how to be alone. This is one of the biggest keys to being self-led. You have to know how to be alone so that you will have that solitude no matter where you are in the world, and also so that you can get to know who you truly are. Number 2, and all of these are correlated, right? Limit your social media use / your overall consumption of external media. So TV shows, movies, music, and social media. The less time you spend scrolling and seeing what somebody else doing, the less you are being controlled by what they are doing. A lot of times, even like I would say for me, sometimes I'll see somebody post food and now I want that food because it looks so good. Like for real, that's how powerful it can be. So obviously you don't want to let that control you. You want to be able to look at somebody's story and see some good food and be like, oh, that look good, and then not have any attachment to it. So to get to that point, you got to train yourself to understand that you are the leader of your life and you don't have to let external stimuli control the decisions you do or don't make. So one of the biggest things to do that is to limit your media and your social media consumption. Stop paying attention so much to what everybody else is doing. Stop letting these TV shows program you into wanting certain lifestyles that may not even be for you. Stop letting this music dictate how you operate in relationships, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about other people. Limit your media use. And then lastly, this was huge for me when I started my healing journey, is to start journaling. Start journaling so that you can get to know your true self, so you can know what you truly want in life, what really bothers you, what really triggers you, what makes you happy, what brings you peace, what brings you joy, and how you truly feel about yourself. What do you want to learn about yourself? How do certain people make you feel? How does this job make you feel? How does this hobby make you feel? You need to know your own thoughts, your own feelings about things, and not what the world has put onto you. Since you were in the womb, as I said in the beginning of this video, you have been controlled and brainwashed to think a certain way, to act a certain way, to want certain things, to be certain things. And 9 times out of 10, those things are not true to who you truly are, and it is not in alignment with God, who God wants you to be. So learn how to be alone, limit your media consumption, and start journaling and writing so that you can learn your true nature, your true character, your own morals and values, and not the values and principles that the world has put onto you. I'm going to read a scripture because it's one of my favorite scriptures and it ties so well with this video. I've said this scripture in multiple videos. It's Romans 12:2. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So don't be conformed to what this world has put onto you. Don't be conformed to what this world is talking about, what this world is doing. If you want to transform and be a leader of your life, you have to transform by becoming aware that you were controlled, that you were making decisions based on your emotions, based on what your parents said, based on what the world said. Become aware of it and then transform your mind by learning more, by reading more, by getting closer to God, by learning who the God is within you and what he wants for your life, and also getting very acquainted with his word and learning how to apply those scriptures to your life and how God is speaking to you. Don't let so many people make decisions about your life, what you should or shouldn't do, because they're not you. They don't know the path that God has created for you. So it's for you to go on that self-discovery journey and learn what God wants for your life so that you will be a leader, so that you can fulfill the call that he has for you, and so that you can have the control that he has blessed you with, that he has stewarded you. I don't know if that's a word, but that he has gave you the responsibility of having. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. You can take something from it. It can help you to be empowered as you continue to bring in this new year and become a leader of your life. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.